Well, as you can see, the New York Knicks lost this game 125 to 108 to the Indianapolis Pacers. According to this statistic, um, the Pacers led all four quarters. They scored 25 in the first, 33 in the second, 34 in the third, and 33 in the fourth. While the Knicks only had 24, 30, 23, 31 in this entire series. And they lose the series 2-4. They're now on their way back home from Indiana back to New York to pack their bags and head and call it a season because um, I've only seen small highlights of this game. Didn't try to see the whole thing, but the Knicks got some issues, some serious issues on the defense side of football. They let the Pacers lead this entire series. They really did. And and before halftime, the Pacers led 33-30 going into halftime. So I've always have said 90% of the time when teams lead in the second half, lead the first half going to the second half, are more likely to win football. They're not to win any game, football or basketball, whatever your sport you choose. Um, this is just really sad. So, sad to me. You know what I'm saying? One thing about me, I may talk a lot of mess. You know what I'm saying? And I like to have fun, but sometimes when you have fun and and you bite your tongue at the same time, this is what happens. Now I'm stuck with eating crow on this because the simple fact is I thought that the Knicks would go all the way to the NBA finals. They had the talent, they had the squad, they had the coaching, they had it all. But they let the Indiana Pacers whoop them down this entire series. But the Knicks in the two games the Knicks did win, the Pacers pretty much was on their heels in the in the wins against the Pacers and the two wins. But the four games that the Knicks have lost to the Pacers have led by double digit points, which is what this is now. I can't forget what the last three of six wins were. I'm talking the last 4 or 6 wins were, but they were double digit wins by the Pacers. And when you can't stop opposing offenses, cause opposing offenses, you will win and you will lose the game. This the Pacers are not a defensive juggernaut. I said this on several occasions. The Pacers are not the Pacers are not a they're not a defensive team. They're an offensive team. They always had been an offensive team, even back in the days when Reggie Miller was playing. Pacers were a offensive team, never defense. So this one reason why the Knicks lost the football game, in the basketball game, because they couldn't stop the Pacers' run on this court. They couldn't do it. So the issues lies on the defensive side of football. See, I mean, it's hard to say. I'm saying football on the defensive side of the basketball. The Knicks are a half-court defensive team. They are not all-around defensive team like most teams preach. They preach all-around defense. See, Tibbs is a half-court defensive-minded coach. He doesn't believe in the full court press. And the Knicks weren't able to press. Weren't able to press none of these guys on the Pacers squad. They weren't able to do it. And when you can't press your opponent into forcing either a pass or or to go in for the shot, you will not win games like that. And this is what this lies to. I'm not gonna say there's no excuse. Trust me that I'm not making excuses for the team, but I'm only visualizing what I've seen on the court in this game in this series against the Pacers. They couldn't stop them. When you play half court off, then you play half court defense, you're not going to win games. And that's what this Knicks team is. They were a half court defense. So the Knicks need to get some players that can play. They can play. They can pressure. and press players on the court and get and force the guy to get rid of the football. I mean, get rid of the basketball. On the why I'm started thinking basketball, football in my mind. I guess because probably because I'm waiting for the season to get started. But anyway, y'all know what I mean when I'm saying football and analytics. You know what I mean when I say football, but I meant basketball. But like I said, if you can't press your player into forcing shots or to giving up the ball after on the dribble, you will not win games that way. And this is what I really and this was the next case throughout this entire series, and not just the Pacers series, but also the Boston series. Boston, I'm not gonna say Boston should have won the game against the Knicks, but Boston, it's been many times that Boston could have won the game against New York. And people keep saying that Boston was an injured play. The Knicks played the Boston Celtics when they were fully healthy. The only person that went out was what's his name? Was the only one player went out with that team. So you can't really say the Knicks played a injured plague or injured riddled Boston team. You can't say that, because if that was the case, the Pacers should have some injured players, and none of their players were injured, and none of the Knicks players were injured. I just don't understand the defensive philosophy that Thibs is pressing and pushing here. That's why I said they need to change. I'm not exactly sure what the Knicks are going to do this all season, but they need to figure out their roster and get better players around Bronson. Because Bronson is not a good Bronson is not a very good defensive player, and Pierre Towns ain't that much of a defensive guy either. So the Knicks gonna have to figure out some way to get some players in here that can play better defense and try to win games and get all the way to the NBA Finals and actually win this team a championship. Not just NBA title, but also the NBA Eastern Conference title. The Knicks have won that since 2000, or it was either 90s or 2000s. The last time the Knicks have won an NBA Eastern Conference title. They ain't won in a while. So this Knicks team is a starving championship team, but they can't seem to get out of their own way when it comes to playing defense. That needs to change, because if it doesn't, this Knicks team will not go very far next year. And I swear to God, that ain't gonna happen next year. But like I said, now I got to eat a big plate. I got to eat crow humble pie because of the stuff that I taught this off season, or stuff I taught the beginning of the season, during the season, and during the playoffs. Now I got to eat crow, but it is what it is. I've eaten crow on several occasions. I've eaten so eating crow humble pie is nothing new to me. It is what it is. We lost. Like I said, I can't make no excuses. But this Knicks team need to figure out what they're gonna do for the 25-26 season, because they will not go very far in the playoffs next season. And this is your boy, the Almighty Green Titan, bringing you the upset news, or not the upset news, but the news that the Knicks have lost 125-108 to the Indiana Pacers, and the Pacers are the Eastern Conference champions. Congratulations to them. They deserve it. They got it. They played a pretty good game. Did the Knicks choke? They probably did. And this is your boy coming out. Peace.